On behalf of myself and Jim, I'm Patrick Dunphy. I'm the VP of Marketing and Alliances here at Anark.
This is Jim Martin. I am the Director of Customer Partner Engagement.
This is our Summer 2026 update overview. So those that I've been speaking with recently have seen this quite a bit, and I've heard that this really does a nice job of reflecting the world that's out there, which is I'm starting to refer to as the two building problem. And really what it comes down to is you have all of the engineering data in the engineering building on the right, you have everyone else who needs it, and you have all of these tools that shouldn't be used for data exchange and collaboration, really building a tenuous bridge across the two that's just set up for failure right from the get-go. And the result, of course, is delays, rework, risk, all of the things that manufacturing companies don't want to see happen. And that's what we're out to solve. This is how we're solving it. And this is the high-level version of what Jim's going to take us through today in the live demos. And it really is the connected digital thread, where you have folks in the engineering building using CAD and PLM systems, and you have everyone else using other tools, including ERP and MES systems, supplier portals, and all sorts of areas where information goes but doesn't necessarily connect because of the necessary and sometimes unnecessary evil of Microsoft Office. All of the Office stack in terms of Outlook, Teams, PowerPoint, documents, Excel, that's where all of this data eventually goes to hide in screenshots and exported tables. And what we're doing at Anark is bringing that all back together, so that the product definition, the manufacturing context, the quality insight, and supplier collaboration capabilities that we're looking for on the left come through to the people that need it, so that they can get a shared understanding of the data that's being exchanged, as well as be able to take action on it. One level down from that in terms of the how we do this is by connecting into all of the data on the left-hand side and using our publishing engine to bring that through into an array of experiences, connected data and collaboration product experiences on the right-hand side that power a whole host of use cases. This is everything from technical data exchange to work instructions, first article inspection, delivering and producing customer deliverables for customer contracts, supplier collaboration, reviews and approvals, a number of use cases, and we'll go through some of those examples today.
One of the things that we'd like people to be very clear about is the differences on how we're applying ISO standards for everything that Patrick is talking about. We do import and attach ISO STEP, AP242 Edition 2, JT, QIF. These are things that we are now supporting, and we want that to allow people to be able to visualize and look at that type of information, even though they may not have their own STEP, JT, or QIF importers. But to be very clear, the standards that we're exporting out to are 3D PDF, which is an ISO standard, HTML. This is an ISO standard. People sometimes forget that for our standalone HTML content or hosted, connected. And one other one that we have gotten into slightly is GLTF, which is a standard for transmission of 3D scenes that's used in XR type applications.
And what we want to continue to emphasize with everybody is that there still is a really strong need for standalone technical data packages that have been represented by our 3D PDF format for close to 20 years now. Compliance grade, the ability to get really good MBD content out from whether it's NX or Creo or 3D Experience in the case of Beta Technologies and composites. And so those are still very important. And I just want to go ahead and just share a couple real quick. We're not going to spend a lot of time looking at those. A lot of conversations about what a 3D PDF should be or what a technical data package should be. And I always say, what do you want it to be? In the case of the Navy and NavAir, we've seen this many times, but I had to re-emphasize this at the Siemens event with some of my people that I've known over the years that they say, yeah, we're not ready for MBD yet, and that's fine. If you're not ready for MBD yet, your cover sheet can look like a drawing, have a feel like a drawing, but we can automate the creation of these documents with the information through templates and publishing that puts information exactly where it needs to be in automated, repeatable forms that greatly accelerates the time to create these and the ability for somebody to understand them. And for somebody who's culturally not at the MBD level yet or really using it, they can see this, be comfortable with it, get the information they need without anything else but the Adobe Reader. And for people that are getting more comfortable with model-based approaches, we do have a standard model-based view on the second page. So we can mix and match these any way that people really want them to be. And this is, in this case, is a Creo model. These cross sections and the different things that we're showing are honestly very tricky. It's very hard to get the model views out in a consistent state with the cross-reference of the different GD and T that are in there. These are things that we continue to show. This 3D PDF's been around a couple of years, but it's still surprising. We need to continue to remind people that this is not going away.
I think the next one up that you have is the standalone digital data package. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the differences between the two, and then go through some of the demo. That'd be great.
Let's bring the valve up. We can cross-reference it with the bill of materials. We can change it. We can resize things, and these are the type of things that you can do with standard HTML technology that it's a little bit difficult to do with 3D PDF. So we call them digital data packages. I sometimes call them dynamic data packages. So we have attachments that are important to deliver to somebody, the QIF files.
The widget/panel-based model that we're using for HTML, which we've developed specifically to, first and foremost, mimic all the goodness that's come from 3D PDF over the years, and that's shown here. But then going beyond that, these widgets within the panels, and I can have you call these out and kind of highlight them when we go back, Jim, is what really powers the flexible nature of the content experiences, as well as the use cases that can be covered by this HTML content as a standalone artifact, as Jim is showing, or as a connected collaborative artifact that we'll show in a few minutes here. People can go in and create markups, track all of that, output all of that information, and resolve issues and tasks along the way. But this concept on the left-hand side, we haven't gotten to spaces yet. We'll show that in a few. That's new. But what we wanted to be able to show you here is there's recipes and templates which help the publishing engine drive all of this high quality content into the digital data package or 3D PDF technical data package. But then when you get it here, these panels can be arranged in any number of scenarios. And then each panel can consume a widget. A widget is some sort of feature that, if we come back over here, on the left-hand side of this, obviously the model viewer is a key component, and that's a panel with a widget that allows you to view the content. But down along the bottom, if you click through some of those views in this, Jim, yeah, so if you go through the model views down at the bottom, those model views, that's a different panel, and that's a different function within that panel. If you wanted to set this up to have this over on the right-hand side, as Jim will show in the next example, you can rearrange these. And so the amount of flexibility that you have with these HTML standalone digital data packages, it really, the sky's the limit in terms of enabling users to work the way they'd like to, arrange the information in the way that they want, and then publish these in a format that's tailor-made for each of the use cases in a much more rapid fashion than hand coding a lot of details into a template.
Here's a little example that we've been showing people just to show the power. This is still standalone, but let's re-emphasize that if we have hosted HTML or connected, it's exactly the same. I can start to do things like, okay, for this panel, I want to have that panel show this view. And then for this panel, I can go through and have a different data view. So I can have as many relationships between structured information. When these are published, we know the different views that are important. And so those MBD views are published, but other type of structured information could be bill of materials, it could be requirements, anything that we can structurally kind of organize into a panel here that either has a text list or a visual list like we have here with the views, we can cross-relate that information over to one of the other panels. And so this gives everybody a lot more flexibility to basically present and cross-relate the information that they need. In production, you may not want everybody to be able to do this, but as you're working through the process of determining what your panels should look like and how they should behave, you can decide how many you have, how big they are, what the spacing is. So there's almost an infinite number of ways that you can organize information and cross-relate that information and then present it. And the really interesting thing is, a little bit of an AI topic is that our team in developing these, once they've started to point to and develop panels for basic behavior, they can point and generate new panels and new ways of displaying information literally in minutes. It's become very quick now, the way that we can do these.
So here we are, connected DDP, and really connected data packages. And what you started to see with what Jim was just showing you is the standalone portable, drop that to anyone and they open up and have the same web app experience that you have in our Anark Collaborate tool, right? So now you can go take that and connect it. So if I go back one step here, going from standalone digital data packages, standalone data packages to connected data packages is simple because it's the same software. One essentially operates in the desktop environment and one is hosted on a web server, and you can access this over the web and get the exact same experience. So as you look at this is a connected experience, a screenshot from one of our connected experiences. And this is the same thing Jim was just looking at as a standalone object. In fact, the way that this works today is you can download these. You can also automate the publishing of these, but you can essentially download these as HTML packages and away you go. So maybe you can take us through some of the connected experiences here, Jim, and walk us through some of the web-based examples.
So this tab is actually connected. We've got the drone that last year we had some webinars that had the drone, so we just republished it into this new environment. These are different type of content items. So the content item could be a legacy drawing. We know that people have legacy drawings, a lot of them, millions of them, literally. And if they're not comfortable with MBD, this type of space environment can work just as easily with legacy drawings that have been digitized, documents, the relationship between the comment, the replies, and the different ways that resolution could occur can work back and forth between the 3D MBD content that's been marked up. You'll notice here we've got just it's kind of a PowerPoint type markup style. In this case, when we rotate it, it disappears, but when we go back to the comment, we can see it. So you can see the visual behavior of the window to be able to highlight things and then relate the different markups to the tracking of what's being talked about and how it's being dispositioned is all there. And then we can start to do really interesting things like set priorities, tag them, set a status, define who the author is. We can cross-relate it to different components. If you've got tags or meta tags that are coming from PLM, so you have a tracking approach that already exists within your IT systems for dispositioning, we can inherit those and use them and apply them here. And then you can sort them, you can search, you can do all different things with them. So here's one that Patrick just added. You can see the date and the timestamp on it. It's marked as critical. And when I pick it, you'll see here it's basically showing an image of something that he marked up. And so I can go through and pick that image. And now this is when we talk about we continue to enhance spaces and the interactivity of it. This is what we just added recently, which is okay. Now we have an image that is either captured from the screen or it could come from an external source that allows you to literally mark up anything and throw it into one of the comments that's associated as part of this dispositioning activity. So you can see here, if I am done looking at the image, I can hit the X and go back to my view, and then we can go through and add these at any point. So I can, there's a couple ways to think about this. I can pick this one here. You'll notice this one doesn't have an image that was captured, or a screenshot, we call them. In this case, it does. I can activate the comment. Maybe I just need to look at the information associated with this comment, or I can go in here and pick, and it shows me a little bit more of what I need. And when I have the information that I need, I can just get rid of that and go back to work. So there's a lot of different variations of how we can mark things up. And, just a quick tour up here is selecting things, to be able to select according to the bill of materials, to add a new comment on the right, to do a 3D model annotation. So I can go through and say, hey, I want to go through and make a model annotation related to this component. And then when I pull it out, you can see it's added a new one here. This is a bracket. And we are adding the capability to be able to have GD&T and other type of annotations in this type of comment and showing up in the model. But the cool thing is that I can be anywhere, and as soon as I activate it, it shows me the comment. It keeps it flat to plain when I'm in that comment, and then I can go through and I can work on it, or somebody else who's looking at it could give a reply, and that reply will show up to priority. And then one by one, you can work through issues in a generic environment that crosses over Siemens, Dassault, SolidWorks, any of the different CAD and PLM systems into this neutral, pure web-based environment for collaboration.
We're excited about the future of what we showed today and its potential. And we're really looking forward to getting this into your hands, into your line of sight. And so anyone who wants to see this in more detail, get a more personalized tour, mention some use cases, we show you how it would work. Definitely schedule some time with Jim to do so.